Hello, friends, and today we are going to be making a dragon, a Chinese style dragon for our drawing today. Now, I have a quite large piece of paper in front of me. You can make this smaller or larger. Really, the focus is the head. And the body, you can kind of make it any correlation that you want. You can make it go off the paper, you can make it long, you can make it short. It is up to you, but we'll get to that point a little further. Let's start with the head first. So for the head of our dragon, I'm going to start all the way on the edge of my paper, and it's going to seem pretty small compared to the rest of it because a lot of the paper is going to be taken up by the body. So I'm going to start off on my paper on the edge, and I'm going to draw kind of what looks like a big toe and 3 small toes. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to draw a big toe and then 3 little toes. So it looks like my toe is giving me a thumbs up. Now I told my class you can add a toenail by drawing a little backwards letter 6, which is also going to be the nostril of my dragon. So now we have the nose and a little growling snout. I know you might not be able to see it yet, but I promise that's what it will become. So next, I'm going to add a little sideways smirk right next to my little pinky toe here, going upward. This is going to be an angry eye eventually. So now that I have this shape, I'm going to turn this into an eye by adding a little eye shaped underneath. And if you'd like, you could add a pupil. And I just kind of drew a couple of rings around it to give a little creepy eye effect. Now connecting from the pinky toe and all the way over to connect to the corner of the eye, I'm going to make almost like a set of flames it's going to look like, which are going to be a little chunk of fur on the eyebrow. So because our dragon's going to be made up of fire, so I'm going to need a couple of flames. So I kind of connected this area using flames. Obviously, if you don't want your dragon to be a fire dragon, if you want to just make it more fuzzy or smooth, you could just connect that with a smooth line. Now, my dragon personally is going to have some horns. And so in order to have the horns, I'm going to have a little area that the horns are growing out of on the head. I'm going to add another little spiky area, and it's going to kind of come to the edge of the eye down there. All right, if I keep going, I'm going to extend the snout down a little bit. And I'm going to draw the mouth coming up by the eye and then wrapping back over. So let me show you. Coming up by the eye and wrapping back around. Now here's where you can add some teeth. I like to add 2 large fangs and then a couple of little ones, as well as some smaller bottom teeth. All right, this next step I think is really the key to the dragon, and it is his little goatee, if you will, under his chin. If I just make a smooth line, it kind of just looks like a sad dog instead of a dragon, so this really brings it home. So from his chin, I'm going to add a little, once again, fiery, fuzzy goatee, like that. I'm going to bring this line over kind of in a straight line and then frame out the jaw and the back of the head using more fire. So I'm going to make a smooth line, and then I kind of bring it over using fire. I'm going to add another layer of this fire. And connect it to the back of the head. Now here's where I'm going to add that horn that we talked about before. So coming out of this little area next to my eyebrow, between my eyebrow and the neck, I'm going to have my horn coming out, and I'm just going to add a little spiky horn coming out of there. You can make it curly, you can make it longer or shorter, up to you. So what we have so far is a nice dragon head. Now you can make any adaptation of that if you would like. But what I'm going to do next is add my body. Now for the body, I think it's easiest to work in segments. So I'm going to draw the first part of my body coming down and then it coming up, because honestly the hardest part is making the body even, an even thickness. It's going to look crazy if you have the body wiggling in a bunch of different directions and different thicknesses. It's going to turn into a snake. We want a dragon and not a snake. So to start off, I'm going to go downward and find a curve for my dragon. Then I'm going to go to the top of the head, and I'm going to try my best to follow the thickness of that line. Now this got a little close together here, but it will still work. All right, now I'm going to curve up, and I'm going to follow that same thickness over here. Do the same thing. And curve back down. All the way. I can go across my paper. Now this is the part that if I want to go off my paper, want to go up, I have some play to do that with. Now as I get to the tail, I'm going to add my little tail going this way. I'm going to get skinnier as I get to the tail. So now it's okay if it's getting a little thinner. To my tail. At the very end of my tail, I'm going to add a little bit of flames to the edge of my tail, and then a second little layer of fire. For the end of my tail. Now right now he looks like a snake with a dragon head and a fiery tail. Well, we do not want that. We want a dragon. So I'm going to add just 2 claws here. You could add more if you would like. I know some people like having 4 claws, wings, up to you. I'm just going to add 2 to keep it easy. So for my front claw, I kind of have his arm reaching out here. So to do that, I kind of just draw a line, a little set of lines right there. All right, then I add kind of like almost the letter C out of fingers. It sounds super weird, but I'm going to go down here and draw kind of like a little finger shape. But then I like to add a little sharp claw at the end. I don't know if that makes sense. Same up here. I'm going to add a little finger shape. Sometimes it's easier with a pencil because you could erase. And then a claw. I can kind of connect those two. Now to make it look more like a claw, I need the fingers because that's just going to be the first part of the hand. I need it to overlap with some more. So I could add more claw behind there. I can add another finger up here for my dragon's claw. Now it doesn't really super look like a claw. It looks kind of rough. But when you look at the dragon as a whole, it's understood that it's the claw. I'm going to add another one down here. If I had an eraser and I wasn't using a marker, I would just erase this little line where it overlaps here. And I'm going to do the same idea where I'm just going to kind of add a couple of toes with some claws on it. There we go. I got little claws. Nothing too realistic, just kind of spiky toes. It works. All right, my final step I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a little belly. If I want, I can make this arm a little bit longer. That's fine. So I'm going to draw a line going kind of through. And once again, I want to kind of keep a consistent thickness all the way across my whole, I'm going to stop at my arm. All the way across the whole dragon. And this is going to be his little belly. All the way to his tail. Like that. Then when I add little, I'm going to add like little almost scales on his stomach. I want to make sure I add the lines perpendicular to the bottom of his belly. So that means if the line is going right here, this one will go straight across. Likewise, if the bottom of the belly is here, it's going to go straight up. So I'm going to make sure I'm following the angle as the body is turning. And I'm going to kind of go all the way across. Like so. Now, as far as scales go, I've tested out a couple of different methods of scales on this dragon. And I have to say, if you're doing it for my art class, I recommend waiting until you are done painting to draw on your scales because I actually have a cool tool that we could use to scratch away some scales out of the paint, which we will do in my art class. Now, if you're at home and you're drawing this and you want to add some scales, I know I typically end up doing, let me show you on a little backup paper. Like if I'm drawing a fish set of scales, I'm going to just draw in chunks and overlap. I've noticed that that does not work that wonderfully on this dragon because he moves so much, you kind of lose the direction. I have found more success with drawing individual scales for this because then I can kind of follow the curve of this dragon. So I can kind of just add scales where I feel like I might need some. If I feel like I need one in one side, I can add some. The real big key is to make sure you are keeping a consistent size to your scale. You don't want a jumbo scale over here and then a little mini one over here. Or sometimes people start off pretty strong with their designs and then they kind of give up and just draw really giant scales. So you start off with these really small, intricate, detailed scales at the beginning and it becomes a mess at the end. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab really quickly my example of a finished dragon. I apologize, it's not with me right now. And this is what I'm left with at the end once I fill in all those scales. I hope this helped you guys out. Once again, I recommend always using a pencil as you're working so you can erase and make adjustments as you go. I hope you guys enjoyed making this dragon, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you later.